Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. This time, we're looking at 11 Minutes by Paulo Coelho.
Yeah, 11 minutes.
We are going to be focusing on the themes of love, sex, and spirituality.
Right.
And to help us out today, we have a paper titled Re-Exploring the Soul of Maria in Paulo Coelho's 11 Minutes.
Very cool.
So get ready. It's going to be a fascinating journey.
It is.
And I think a good place to start would be with Maria herself.
Yeah.
You know, she's a young woman just trying to figure things out, trying to figure out her place in the world.
Right.
But she has some baggage. She has some early experiences with love that really shape her worldview.
Definitely. She's had kind of a rough go of it early on.
Yeah.
She falls for this boy when she's young, and then poof, he disappears.
Oh, wow.
And then later on, there's another boy who betrays her trust.
Ouch.
Yeah. So these experiences really leave her feeling disillusioned with love.
Makes sense.
She starts to believe that love is really more about suffering than joy.
Yeah. I mean, haven't we all been there at some point?
Of course, especially when we experience heartbreak at a young age,
Totally.
it can really make you question everything you thought you knew about love.
Yeah, for sure. And for Maria, this early heartbreak, it kind of sets the stage for the choices she makes later on.
Right. She starts to look for fulfillment outside of a romantic relationship.
Okay, so she's kind of closed off to love at this point.
Yeah, pretty much.
So what does she do?
Well, she gets this idea that she wants to be a model.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she dreams of fame and fortune, the whole glamorous life.
So she's ambitious.
Oh, yeah, very much so. And this ambition leads her first to Rio de Janeiro.
Wow, Rio.
And then eventually she ends up in Geneva.
Okay, so far so good, right?
Well, not exactly.
What happens?
You see, she gets tricked by this Swiss guy.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And she ends up trapped in a life she never expected.
Prostitution.
Exactly.
Wow, that's a huge reality check.
It is. It really highlights how vulnerable young women can be when they're chasing their dreams.
Especially in a world that can be so unforgiving.
Absolutely. The paper actually describes the system of prostitution as inherently destructive.
Oh, wow.
It even compares it to a form of modern-day slavery.
That's heavy.
Yeah, it is. And there's this one example in the novel that really drives this point home.
Okay, what is it?
There's this client named Terrence.
Terrence.
Yeah, and he treats Maria with absolute disregard.
Like she's not even human.
Exactly. Like she's just an object.
It's awful.
It's a stark reminder of the dark side of prostitution.
And the exploitation that so many women face.
Right.
But what's interesting is that the paper also presents a different perspective.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it argues that in some ways, Maria actually uses prostitution as a way to reclaim her power.
Oh, that's fascinating.
It is, isn't it? It's like she's finding a sense of agency in a system that's designed to strip her of it.
Right. She's refusing to be a victim.
Exactly. She's taking control of her circumstances in the only way she can.
And there's a quote from the novel that really captures this.
Oh, yeah. What does she say?
Maria says, "Instead of feeling depressed, she felt proud she was fighting for herself. She wasn't some helpless person."
Wow, that's powerful.
It is, isn't it? It just shows her strength and resilience.
Yeah. She's not just another face in the crowd.
Definitely. She's actively making choices even within a difficult situation.
So she's making the best of a bad situation.
You could say that. And it's not just about survival for Maria.
What do you mean?
She goes beyond just the physical aspects of her work.
Oh, okay.
She actually makes an effort to connect with her clients on a deeper level.
Really? So she's not just shutting down emotionally?
No, not at all. She's actually quite insightful.
Interesting.
She sees the loneliness and longing in many of her clients.
Yeah, they probably feel invisible, like nobody really sees them.
Exactly. And Maria offers them a space for connection and solace.
In a profession that's usually all about detachment.
Right. The paper even quotes Maria observing that her clients wanted to talk about the pressures of work, about their unfaithful wives.
Yeah.
About how lonely they felt, how they had no one to talk to.
Wow, so they're confiding in her.
They are. It's like they're starved for genuine human interaction.
And Maria's providing that?
She is.
It's amazing that she can find meaning and purpose in such a challenging environment.
Yeah, she's a complex character full of contradictions.
But despite her success and finding a level of control in her life, Maria eventually realizes that something's missing.
What's that?
Love.
Oh.
Real love. She starts to crave something deeper, something more fulfilling.
It's like she's yearning for nourishment for her soul.
I think you're right. She's realizing that she can't ignore this need for love any longer.
And this realization marks a turning point in her journey.
It does, doesn't it? It's like she's coming alive again.
Exactly. She's starting to reconnect with that part of herself that she'd shut down.
That vulnerability.
Right. And it's a scary but also exciting step for her.
So what happens next?
Well, she starts writing about love in her diary.
Oh, wow. So she's processing her feelings.
Yeah, she even writes, I need to write about love. I need to think and write about love. Otherwise, my soul won't survive.
That's so powerful.
It is. It shows how essential love has become for her.
Like it's a matter of life and death for her soul.
Exactly.
Wow. So she's at a crossroads now.
She is. And that's where Ralph Hart enters the picture.
Ralph Hart.
Yeah, he's an artist. And he becomes more than just a client to Maria.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he becomes her lover.
Her lover.
And a guide who helps her on this path of spiritual awakening.
That sounds pretty intense.
It is. The relationship really embodies the transformative power of love.
You know how love can help us grow and discover ourselves.
Exactly. And through, Ralph Maria starts to heal from her past wounds.
She's finally letting go of that baggage.
She is, and she's starting to see herself in a new light.
Wow, what a journey.
It is, and we're just getting started.
This is fascinating. I can't wait to see where it goes from here.
Me either.
But we'll have to save that for next time. So join us next time as we continue our deep dive into 11 minutes.
Sounds good. You know, one thing that really struck me about the paper is how it delves into the theme of loneliness.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
It's not just Maria who's struggling with it, you know?
Right. A lot of her clients are looking for more than just sex.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're craving connection. They want someone to really see them.
To hear their stories.
Yeah, and the paper actually quotes this really powerful line from the novel.
Oh, wow. What is it?
It says, human beings can withstand a week without water, 2 weeks without food, many years of homelessness, but not loneliness. It is the worst of all tortures, the worst of all sufferings.
Wow, that's heavy.
It is, isn't it? It really emphasizes how crucial human connection is.
Like we're wired for it.
Exactly. And it makes you wonder about all the people out there who are suffering in silence.
The ones who seem to have it all together on the surface.
Right. You know, the paper points out this interesting irony.
What's that?
That loneliness is often rampant in affluent societies.
Oh, wow. So it's like material wealth can't buy you happiness.
Well, not necessarily. It's like you can have all the money in the world, but still feel empty inside.
Yeah, like that saying, you can be surrounded by people and still feel utterly alone.
Exactly. And that's what Maria sees in her clients, you know?
They have the money, the success, but they're still deeply lonely.
Right. It's like there's this disconnect between their external achievements and their internal well-being.
It's almost like they've lost touch with themselves.
You could say that, and it's through Maria's journey that we start to understand the importance of bridging that gap.
The gap between the outer and the inner.
Exactly. You know, the paper also connects Maria's experiences to this concept of spiritual adulthood.
Oh, interesting. I haven't heard that term before.
Have you not? Well, it's basically about aligning yourself with values that go beyond just your own self-interest.
Okay, so like what kind of values?
Things like hope, purpose, love, wisdom.
So it's about expanding your perspective beyond just yourself.
Yeah, you know, moving from a self-centered viewpoint to a more interconnected one.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I can definitely see how Maria's journey reflects that.
Can you?
Yeah, I mean, she starts out seeking external validation.
Like through modeling and fame.
Right, but through your experiences, she eventually connects with her inner self, her soul.
Exactly. It's like she's shedding all those societal expectations and embracing her authentic self.
Wow, that's powerful.
It is, and it ties into another key point raised by the paper.
Oh, what's that?
The importance of self-transcendence.
Self-transcendence.
Yeah, have you ever heard of that?
I'm not sure, maybe.
Well, basically, the paper suggests that Maria's experiences, especially her time as a prostitute,
Okay.
force her to confront her vulnerabilities.
Makes sense. I mean, that's a pretty vulnerable position to be in.
It is, and through those challenges, she discovers her inner strength and resilience.
So, like, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
You could put it that way. It's not about avoiding difficult experiences, but rather facing them head on.
Seeing them as opportunities for growth. So it's kind of like a process of breaking down and rebuilding yourself.
Precisely. And the paper argues that Maria's journey embodies this process of self-transcendence.
Okay, I'm starting to get it.
Good. You know, she starts out feeling lost and disillusioned, but through these trials, she emerges as a more self-aware and empowered individual.
That's amazing.
It is, isn't it? It's inspiring to see her forge her own path, you know?
Yeah, defying all those societal norms and expectations.
Right. You know, she's challenging our preconceived notions about love, sexuality, and spiritual fulfillment.
It's like she's saying, hey, there's more to life than what you've been told.
Exactly. And it's a reminder that personal growth often happens outside of our comfort zones.
Yeah, when we're pushed to our limits.
Right. In those moments when we have to confront our limitations and embrace the unknown.
It's kind of scary, but also exhilarating.
Exactly. It's like shedding old skin and stepping into a more authentic version of ourselves.
I love that analogy. The paper also highlights the important role that Ralph Hart plays in Maria's transformation.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Ralph, he's a key figure in her journey,
Absolutely, he becomes more than just a lover to her.
right? He's like a catalyst for her spiritual awakening.
So their relationship goes beyond the physical,
It does. It's about connecting on a soul level.
recognizing and honoring each other's deepest self.
Exactly.
And it seems that through her connection with Ralph, Maria begins to heal those old wounds from her past
She does. She finally starts to let go of that baggage.
and embrace a more holistic view of love and sexuality.
Right. The paper actually mentions how their relationship transcends the conventional boundaries of romantic love.
Oh, really? In what way?
It becomes a shared journey of growth and self-discovery for both of them.
Wow, that's beautiful.
It is, and there's this passage from the novel that really captures this.
Oh, what does it say?
Coelho writes about how Ralph helps Maria discover a whole universe inside her own body.
Wow, that's powerful.
It is, isn't it? It suggests that true intimacy involves exploring not just the physical, but also the emotional and spiritual depths within ourselves and our partners.
So it's about going deeper than just the surface.
Exactly. And it's through this exploration that Maria finally starts to understand the true nature of love.
Not as a source of suffering, but as a force for healing and transformation.
Right. We've covered a lot of ground today, haven't we?
This paper has given us so much to think about.
It has. It's provided some really valuable insights into the complex themes of 11 Minutes.
And it's clear that this novel is much more than just a story about a prostitute.
Oh, definitely. It's about self-discovery, spiritual awakening, and the search for meaning.
In a world that often feels fragmented and disconnected.
Exactly. And it challenges us to examine our own definitions of love, sexuality, and spiritual fulfillment.
What does it mean to truly connect with ourselves and with others?
And how can we embrace our experiences, even the challenging ones, as opportunities for growth?
Those are such profound questions.
They are, and they resonate deeply with Maria's journey.
And with the human experience as a whole.
Absolutely. It's almost like Maria's story is holding up a mirror to our own lives.
Reflecting back our own longings, fears, and potential.
I completely agree. It's a powerful reminder that even in the darkest of places, we can find our way back to the light
To our own inner truth.
and to a deeper understanding of what it means to be fully alive.
I'm struck by the contrast between the seemingly superficial world Maria inhabits at the beginning of the novel.
Oh, you mean the world of modeling and beauty?
Exactly, and the depth of her inner journey as she explores these themes of love, sex, and spirituality.
It's a great point. You've hit on a key tension there. That tension between external appearances and internal realities.
And initially, Maria seeks validation through her physical beauty.
Right. She thinks that's where her worth lies.
But her experiences force her to confront the limitations of that superficiality.
She realizes that true fulfillment comes from connecting with her soul, not just her body.
That's such an important message, especially in today's world where we're constantly bombarded with images of idealized beauty and success.
It is, it's a reminder to look beyond the surface and delve into the depths of our own being.
To embrace our true selves.
Exactly. The paper also connects Maria's journey to the idea of finding meaning in suffering.
Oh, wow. That's a concept that's been explored by philosophers and spiritual teachers for centuries.
It has. And the paper applies it to Maria's story by suggesting that her experiences, while undeniably painful and challenging,
Yeah.
ultimately serve as catalysts for her spiritual growth.
So it's not about glorifying suffering,
No, not at all.
but about recognizing its potential to transform us.
Exactly. It's about finding meaning and purpose in the midst of adversity.
Like turning our wounds into wisdom.
Beautifully put. Maria's story is a testament to the human capacity for growth and resilience.
Even when facing immense challenges.
Right. And it reminds us that we have a choice.
A choice.
We can let our experiences define us, or we can use them as opportunities to learn to grow and to become more fully ourselves.
That's a powerful perspective.
It reminds us that we have the power to choose how we respond to life's challenges.
To find meaning even in the most difficult circumstances.
Exactly. And it's through that process of choosing, of actively engaging with our experiences, that we can truly transform our lives.
And connect with our deepest selves.
Right? One thing that strikes me about Maria's journey is that it doesn't follow a linear path.
Oh, yeah, it's full of twists and turns.
Exactly. It's full of contradictions and complexities, just like life itself.
It's not a straight climb to enlightenment.
Definitely, it's a journey of discovery with setbacks and breakthroughs along the way.
And it's reassuring to see that reflected in a story.
Why is that?
Because it reminds us that it's okay to not have it all figured out.
To stumble to question, to make mistakes.
It's all part of the process.
Absolutely. It's about embracing the journey with all its imperfections and uncertainties.
And trusting that even in the midst of chaos, there's a deeper order at play.
A guiding force leading us towards our own unique path of fulfillment.
I love that, it brings us back to one of the core themes we've been exploring today.
The search for meaning.
Exactly. Maria's story reminds us that meaning isn't something we find out there in the world.
It's something we cultivate within ourselves.
By connecting with our values, our passions, our sense of purpose.
Right, and recognizing that meaning can be found in the most unexpected places.
Even in the midst of darkness and adversity.
There's always the potential for growth, for transformation, for discovering the light within.
That's such a hopeful message.
It is, and it's a message that we can all carry with us as we navigate our own journeys.
We're not alone in this.
No, we're all in this together.
Each seeking our own unique path to wholeness and fulfillment.
Exactly.
It's amazing how Maria's journey kind of expands outwards,
What do you mean?
Like, it's not just about her own search for meaning.
Okay.
It's like she's inspiring us to think about how we can make a difference in the world, too.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. So, like, her story is a ripple effect.
Right. Encouraging us to look beyond ourselves.
To contribute to something larger.
And, speaking of expanding perspectives,
Yeah.
I'm really curious about how 11 Minutes portrays the relationship between sex and spirituality.
Oh, that's a big one.
It's something that still feels kind of taboo even today.
You're right. And that's what makes Coelho's work so fascinating.
Yeah.
He tackles these seemingly taboo subjects head on.
He's not afraid to push boundaries.
Exactly. He's inviting us to question those conventional ideas about morality.
To think differently about our own beliefs.
Right.
So how does the paper address this relationship between sex and spirituality in the novel?
Well, it emphasizes that in 11 Minutes, sex isn't portrayed just as a physical act.
Okay.
It's seen as a potential pathway to spiritual connection and self-discovery.
Interesting.
The paper points out how Maria initially views sex as a transaction.
Yeah, like a means of survival.
Exactly. Remember, she's working as a prostitute.
Right. It's a job for her.
But as she goes through these experiences, her perspective starts to shift. She begins to see that sex can be something much deeper.
Something sacred.
Yes, something transformative.
And that's where the concept of sacred sex comes into play, right?
Exactly. We touched on this idea earlier.
We did, but I think it's worth exploring a little further.
I agree. The paper suggests that sacred sex, as depicted in the novel, involves this fusion of energies.
What kind of energies?
Physical, emotional, and spiritual energies.
Okay, so it's about connecting with your partner on multiple levels.
Exactly. It's about experiencing a sense of unity and transcendence that goes beyond just the physical.
So it's not just about the act itself.
No, it's about the intention, the depth of connection.
The 11 minutes that Maria and Ralph share?
Yeah.
It becomes a metaphor for this profound level of connection.
Right. It's not about the duration.
But the quality of the experience.
Exactly. The merging of souls, the sense of intimacy and spiritual awakening.
It makes you wonder if our modern approach to sex sometimes misses the mark.
How so?
Well, with all the emphasis on the physical aspect.
Right.
It's like we might be overlooking the potential for something much deeper.
It's definitely something to think about.
And it seems like that's at the heart of what Coelho is exploring in 11 Minutes.
Yeah, he's challenging us to reconsider our assumptions about sex.
To see it as a pathway to spiritual growth.
And self-discovery.
It's almost like he's saying we can reclaim the sacredness of sex by approaching it with intention, with mindfulness.
And with a willingness to connect with our partners on a deeper level.
Right.
That's powerful.
It is. It's about recognizing that sex can be so much more than just a physical act.
Yeah.
It can be a source of joy, connection, even spiritual transformation.
Wow, this has been quite a deep dive.
It has. We've uncovered so many layers of meaning within 11 minutes.
We have. Maria's journey is so thought-provoking.
It really is. It invites us to think deeply about the nature of love, sex, and spirituality.
And this academic paper has given us a really valuable lens to view these themes through.
It's helped us engage with the novel on an intellectual and analytical level.
Not just an emotional one.
It's like having a guide helping us navigate all the nuances of this story.
And ultimately, it's up to each of us to interpret Maria's journey and find our own personal meaning within it.
So as we wrap up, what are some key takeaways you'd like our listeners to remember?
Well, first and foremost, I think Maria's story reminds us that personal transformation is a journey.
It's not a destination.
Exactly. It's okay to stumble, to question, to make mistakes along the way.
It's all part of the process.
The key is to keep moving forward, keep seeking growth.
That's a great reminder. What else stands out to you?
Well, I think it's also important to remember the power of embracing our experiences.
Both the good and the bad.
Right, Maria's journey is full of challenges.
But it's through those challenges that she discovers her true strength and resilience.
And ultimately, her authentic self.
So it's not about pretending the hard times didn't happen.
No, it's about finding the wisdom that can emerge from those experiences.
And finally, Maria's story really underscores the importance of connection.
It does. Throughout her journey, she seeks connection in all sorts of ways.
Not just through sex, but through genuine human interaction.
Through empathy, through sharing her experiences with others.
It's a reminder that we're not meant to go through life alone.
That's right.
We all need to connect, to share, to support, to love one another.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So to everyone listening, I encourage you to check out 11 Minutes.
Explore these themes for yourselves.
There's so much to discover within his pages.
And as you read, think about Maria's journey.
And how it might relate to your own life.
Ask yourself, what does it mean to truly connect with yourself and others?
How can you embrace your own experiences as opportunities for growth?
These are questions that can guide us all on our own unique journeys.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into 11 Minutes.
It's been a pleasure.
We'll see you next time.